Got stopped by CBP for additional questioning. They asked me about my job, they knew already. Trump, Israel, Houthis, Hamas, even Twitch bans out now. I wonder why this happened, guys. I am beyond shocked. I don't know if you guys could see my face right now, but jaw is literally on the floor. I can't imagine why they would be questioning him over these very specific topics. If anything, I blame the slop tubers for this. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Thank you so much for coming back, and appreciate the love. I feel it through the screen. This is one of the funniest things to happen. My favorite Twitch streamer of all time, Hasan Piker, was recently abroad and coming back to America. As you guys saw from that intro, he was asked quite a few things. I don't know, he's never said anything controversial ever to warrant this type of behavior. The guy is just a nice, wholesome YouTuber and Twitch streamer. He has never had terrorists on his show. He has never promoted terrorism. Truly don't know why they would ask him these kind of questions. And how do you think Hasan responded to this? A, took the blame like a man, or B, blamed other people for this? If you answer B, you would be correct.
A lot of the shit that like the Ethan Kleins of the world have like cried about over and over again were unironically brought up in that fucking conversation. And I was shocked. Okay. Not like the bleach sword, obviously, but like the Houthi. Like, did you interview a Houthi? It says here that you interviewed a Houthi. And I was like, or was he actually a Houthi? And I was like, he's not. You can look to all of the reporting that came out afterwards and before I interviewed him that he is not a Houthi, that he is a regular Yemeni citizen. And I said, like, his name is Rashid al-Haddad. He is not even a Shia. And the dude, luckily, again, Iraqi, went, oh, yeah, that's right. That's a Sunni last name. Al-Haddad is a Sunni last name. So he must not have been a Houthi. And the very fact that that was like a point of contention that could have fucking gotten me arrested is insane. And I genuinely, in that moment, was thinking, like, these fucking dumbass slop tubers are actually playing with fucking fire. And I even thought about not even mentioning this because I was like, I don't want to give him any sort of like power over the situation. But like the reality of the matter is 100% the Trump administration is inadvertently working with a lot of these fucking dipshits. These dipshits are playing a formative role in getting people in trouble with the law. Okay, that is literally the case. It was shocking that that was the case, but it is the case. And it's actually very frustrating that it is the case, that this administration doesn't care. That's why they work with Beitar. That's why they work with all these other fucking insane groups. The Barry Weisses of the world actually have motion in this goddamn admin.
It couldn't be all the other interesting stuff he said over the last 5-6 years, right? No, I blame slop tubers, YouTube drama channels, and Ethan Klein for me getting in trouble. And Hasan, come on, calm your tits. You're not gonna get in trouble, okay? You should try that again. Just to confirm, you know what I mean? Just to double check that it's the slop tuber's fault. Dude, when are you gonna take some accountability and be like, yeah, it's on me. I shouldn't really say these extreme things. Because when you look at that, when you're the #1 left-leaning political YouTube channel or Twitch streamer for that matter, yeah, you're going to be under a microscope, especially when you're saying very interesting things about America. And I'm not saying America is the perfect country. It's far from perfect. No place is perfect. There's ways that you can criticize America or Trump or the Trump administration. There's ways you can do that. But the way Hasan goes about it is a little extreme. Now, once again, this is really not Ethan Klein's fault, let alone the slop tuber's fault. This is his own doing. No one's controlling Hasan Piker and be like, you should say this. And when you look at that, actions have consequences. How could we not see that coming? Hasan is acting as if he was a fucking puppet and someone's controlling him. Someone in the universe has their hand up his ass and is making him say all these crazy things. Hasan, you should say this. No, you should do this. My words got me into trouble. Time to blame everyone else but myself. Where's the accountability for someone that's always preaching about holding people accountable? Where's yours? And hey, I'm not here to defend the fucking CBP officers. Some of them have huge egos. They love to go on power trips. They think they're above it. it, right? I'm not here to defend those people. But when you're saying very questionable stuff about America and saying this to over 30,000 people on the daily, that is bound to get some attention. I'm surprised. He's surprised. Yeah, dude, that's going to raise some red flags. I don't know if that makes any sense. Am I getting my point across? Am I going insane? Am I losing it?
He knew exactly who the fuck I was, but he was basically like, he always made it seem as though he was asking certain things that after discovering in the process of that conversation, he would ask additional questions. So he kept saying, "What do you do as a job? Do you talk about the news?" And I was like, "Yeah, I talk about the news." And he kept saying, "Okay, so when you talk about the news, do you talk about the war?" And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" He's like, "Do you talk about Trump?" And that was the first time where I was like, what the fuck is this question? Like, I literally straight up told him, I was like, why are you asking me this? Like, I was like, what does this have to do with anything? Yeah, they asked me about my fucking Twitch bans, chat. It's not even a joke. They asked me about fucking Twitch chat, like Twitch bans. The reason for why they're doing that is, I think, to try to create an environment of fear, to try to get people like myself, or at least like others that would be in my shoes that don't have that same level of security, to shut the fuck up. And for me, I'm going to use the privilege that I have in that moment to try and see what the fuck they're doing.
If that was really the case under the current Trump administration and how they're dealing with things, if they really wanted to shut you up, they would have done something more drastic, okay? And I'm not here to condone that, okay? I think that's a little too far, but come on. Like, I get it, you're completely playing into it. I don't think that was a way to censor them. And if anything, that's completely against free speech and what Trump fans want, which is being able to say whatever the fuck you want. You know, I'm not here to get into politics. Once again, I'm not an expert, but that would go against their whole thing, freedom of speech and Elon and Trump, and we could say whatever we want and have no consequences. For better or for worse, that should be universal for everyone. I don't know if that's controversial. For Hasan as well, if Elon and others are allowed to say, you know, whatever they want to say, I'm all for freedom of speech, but that also has consequences. Like, dude, if I go on here and start saying insane stuff, I'm allowed to say it, right? As long as I don't break TOS, but that also comes with consequences. Yeah, I don't know, Hasan fucked around and is finding out that his words that reach thousands, if not millions of people on the daily could backfire. And this is a perfect, and I mean a perfect example of that. Once again, especially nowadays with how things are. If the Trump administration really wanted this guy shut down, it would have happened. Well, you kind of dig yourself into this. Stop blaming the drama channels, the commentary guys, the slop tubers, Ethan Klein, your ops, the Reddits. Stop blaming all of these people and take accountability for the stuff you have said. Bro just wants to play the victim so bad. It's everyone else's fault but mine. I'm out and it wasn't that bad. Very strange experience. I'm surprised this didn't happen sooner. I don't think anyone cares about what I think politically. I've said this for years. I don't care for politics, and I'm not a fan of Elon Musk, okay? Without getting into it, I think that guy's a fucking retard. I've said this before, nothing surprising. I don't like the guy. But am I going to start saying shit like, someone should kill Elon, they should take him out, and everyone was attacking Tesla, setting them on fire, they should have taken him out? I'm not gonna, well, I wasn't gonna say I'm not gonna say that, and then I said it, so I'm gonna be fucked next time I fly back into America. You could be like, yeah, I don't like Elon, and I think he's a fucking idiot, and blah 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 blah, however you feel about him. But then if you start saying crazy stuff online in front of thousands, if not millions of people, then yeah, that's dangerous. I don't think this is a hot take. Yeah, dude, you're gonna get in trouble. And when I saw the breaking news, I was low-key a little scared, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, how am I going to eat lunch now that my favorite Twitch streamer is banned? Like, who's gonna tell me how to feel about politics if his son is taken to jail? Am I gonna have to think for myself for the first time in my life? No. So I'm glad my Pookie Bear Hasan is free.
You want to see a Houthi musical?
Sure. See, I know they're singing, but I'm seeing just guns and shit. This isn't a music video, Hasan.
We'll just leave it at that. What do you guys think of the situation? Let me know in the comments below. I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel with notifications on. Let's hit 600 million subscribers. Not 600,000. I mean, we're getting kind of close. 600 million.